Right, now, over the years, there have been many titanic battles in the world of motorsport, many great duels. You've had Hunt versus Lauda, you've had Prost versus Senna, you've had the Ford GT40 versus the Ferraris at Le Mans, but my favourite battle of them all is this one. Back in 1977, Audi was developing this four-wheel drive vehicle for the German military, and they had a bit of a thought. They wondered if its four-wheel drive system could be made to work in an ordinary family car. And so, under the cover of darkness at a quarry in a remote corner of Germany, they began secret tests. And straight away, it was obvious that with all four wheels being driven, the family car had an enormous amount of grip. This meant it could go round corners on loose surfaces like that much faster. And that, they reckoned, would make it good at rallying. But there was a problem. What I've got here is the 1979 Motor Racing Rulebook. It's the most boring book in the world, but whatever. Here, on page 8 million, Article 2 says that in rallying, four-wheel drive cars will not be admitted. Audi, however, had thought about that and dispatched a man to Paris to a meeting of the sport's governing body to try and get the rule changed. He was very clever because he waited for the meeting to be finished, everyone pulling on their hats and coats, and then he went, oh, God, sorry, one more thing. This rule about four-wheel drive being banned in rallying, is it OK if we get rid of that? And everyone said, well, obviously he wants to enter his silly little army lorry and something or other. So they all went, yes, yes, whatever, and went home. 3 years later, this is what happened.
The four-wheel drive Quattro is all-conquering, and the Audi has been proved master of all conditions.
Superior power and traction with a turbocharged four-wheel drive Audi is too much. Bjorn Valdegaard has wasted no time in proving the dominance of the four-wheel drive Quattro. Hannu Mikkola has scored a tremendous victory.
The Quattros hold all the aces, first, second and third.
Audi won the World Championship in 1982 with this very car, actually, and from that moment on, everyone knew that to win in rallying, you had to have four-wheel drive. Well, when I say everyone, this was Lancia's answer to the Quattro, the two-wheel drive 037. I've got a bit of a soft spot for all old Lancias, but in this, it's not soft. This is everything I was expecting it to be. Pops, bangs, lumpy petrol, a dashboard dominated by this enormous and very well-used ashtray. Completely Italian. Honestly, it is dainty as a dandelion seed caught in a summer breeze and as agile as a water boatman. I mean, that was... Oh, that was just glorious through there. Glorious. It feels highly strung. Feels like a thoroughbred. It's fast as well. Oh, wow, what a thing this is. On a dry track, then, or in a beauty contest, the 037 would thrash the Quattro any day of the week. But in the rough and tumble, crash-bang-wallop world of rallying, not a chance. What's more, Audi was backed by the industrial might of Volkswagen. It was efficient and organised. This was the team boss, Roland Gumpert. And look at him, a hands-on, bearded, German doctor of engineering. Lancia's team boss, meanwhile, well, he was a bit different. His name was Cesare Fiorio, and he liked girls and powerboat racing. Also, he was running a team staffed by Italians, on a shoestring. And then there were the drivers. Audi had Hannu Mikkola and Stig Blomqvist and Michel Mouton,
En bas que je vois rien, en bas.
who had won 21 rallies between them.
Quattro was the car on everybody's lips, you know, in rally business. And of course, we were developing the car all the time. It was getting better and better. We were well funded, you know, and that time it was a big team.
Lancia, meanwhile, had Marco Alain and Walter Rall, who was brilliant, but said he didn't want to compete in every event and didn't want to be world champion.
I told them, listen, I want to win Monte Carlo. I like Corsica, I like Acropoli, I like New Zealand, I like San Remo. I only do these 5 or 6 beautiful rallies and nothing more. I am not interested to win any more the World Championship title. I want to be a normal man, not something special. And if we're always in the newspaper and everywhere, of course you're never alone because people standing in front of a house and I don't like it.
So, Audi had four-wheel drive, a proven car, a team staffed by Germans, a hands-on boss, and a squad of world-class drivers who were motivated and on it. Lancia, meanwhile, had a budget of £3.75, two-wheel drive, a powerboating playboy at the helm, and a part-time driver who didn't want to be world champion. However, Lancia did have one ace up its sleeve. They'd been in rallying for ages. They'd won the championship 4 times with cars like the Fulvia and then the Stratos. So although their powerboating team boss looked like a playboy, he knew all the tricks. For example, the rules said that before you could enter a car in a rally, you had to build at least 400 examples which could be sold as road cars to customers. Now, obviously, when officials from the sports governing body turn up to check you've done that, they are going to notice if you've only made 200. So you say yes, but you see, this car park was full. So the other 200 are in a car park on the other side of town. And then you say, let's go and count those now. And on the way, why don't we stop off for a spot of lunch? You then make sure the lunch goes on for a very long time. You have a starter, a main course.
So turned it into candles for 3 days, got into port.
Pudding, cheese,
Well, when I say reverse, careered backwards.
mince, more cheese.
Shame to waste the bottle.
And then afterwards, you take them to another car park, which contains, miraculously, the other 200 cars. Then you had the cars themselves.
The rules say they must be fitted with roll cages. But roll cages are heavy, they'll slow you down. So why not use something like this instead? It looks like a roll cage, it would pass a visual inspection every day of the week, but actually, it's made from cardboard. Look.
I'm not saying Lancia actually did that. But if you examine these crashed 037s, you can see they weren't exactly strong.
My family and my friends around me said, listen, why you signed for Lancia? This car is so dangerous. If you see these thin tubes and these plastic things, if you went off, then it's maybe the last accident you have. And I answered, listen, I am not planning to have an accident.
However, despite Lancia's experience and Jazari's cunning, no one expected them to do well in the first round of the 1983 championship, which was held in the freezing mountains above Monte Carlo.
We were very much afraid about this rally because you can find a lot of snow, ice, slippery conditions, where of course a mid-engine car with real wheel traction is not the best idea.
So, whilst Audi prepared for the event by fettling its cars, Lancia got ready by going to the supermarket. Here they bought all the salt they could lay their hands on. They then sprinkled this on the difficult corners so that by the time their car came along, the ice was gone. And they weren't finished there.
We have been also pushing local authorities taking care of the French roads, saying, oh, there's a lot of ice on that road. It's very dangerous for spectators and for the drivers with all this ice. Oh, yes. And so they went and they cleaned up the route. That was fantastic.
They also had another trick up their sleeve. After the icy stages were over, the Lancia stopped in the middle of the stage so the winter tyres could be changed. Now, there was nothing in the rules that said you could do this, but critically, there was nothing that said you couldn't.
If you want to compete in motorsport, you must know the rules you have to face, the gray zones of the rules. And it's always a big fight, but you must try to be a bit clever.
The result in Monte Carlo, then, was the exact opposite of what everyone had been expecting.
Four-wheel drive and 340 turbocharged horsepower are just not enough. It's Audi sadness, Lancia joy.
The two-wheel drive Lancias on a rally famed for its slippery conditions finished first and second. For the next event of the year, in Sweden, there wasn't enough salt in the world to get rid of all the snow and ice. So Lancia solved the problem by simply not turning up at all. Audi therefore scored a 1-2 here. And 3 weeks later, they did the same thing again in Portugal. And after more successes in East Africa, it looked like Audi were running away with it. But then the whole circus moved to Corsica, where almost all of the stages are held on dry, smooth tarmac. Everyone expected the nimble two-wheel drive Lancias to pick up a load of points here. But nobody could have predicted how many they were going to pick up. Usually, Lancia turned up at an event with 2 or 3 cars, but here they arrived with 4, which meant that if they ran faultlessly, which they did, the best Audi could hope for was 5th. And thanks to mechanical failures, they didn't even get that.
With our speed, it's just like holiday.
So, Lancia, with its salt and its tyre-changing antics and its flexible approach to how many cars were in the team, was back on top of the leaderboard. But then, the whole circus moved to the roughest and toughest event on the European calendar. Greece. Here, everyone knew the rough roads would cause mechanical issues. There would be breakdowns, and there were. But amazingly, they were all Audis.
For Lancia, it's an impressive victory. Rawl has again driven superbly.
And I won Acropoli in a Lancia. That was a result I never expected. That we even can come to the finish, because I was thinking maybe the Lancia is too light to stay in one piece for Greece.
The year wore on, with both teams always in contention for the championship. But then, it was time for everyone to head for the bumpy hell of Finland, And Lancia had a problem. Walter Röhrl refused to go.
I didn't like to go to Finland because I don't like jumps. Because, you know, if I want to fly, I would be a pilot and not sitting in a car. That's no way.
Because of his no-show, Audi won easily. However, with only 3 rounds left, it was mathematically possible for Lancia to win the World Championship in San Remo. And that's something they really wanted to do because San Remo, well, that's Italy. They'd be winning it in front of their home crowd. To do that, they'd have to deal with the main feature of the San Remo rally: dust. It's thrown up by a car, and a minute later, when the next one comes along, it's still there, which makes seeing where you're going a bit tricky. To try and make everything better, they fitted a team van with brushes and sent it up the course. But this didn't really work, so the drivers came up with a cunning alternative. On one stage, a minute after the German car had set off and the Lancia was supposed to go, it didn't move. So the starter went over to see what was wrong.
I'm really sorry, my belt, I don't know how it's happened, it's come undone. I know, I should have done this before we came to the start line. It's my bad, really. Oh, no, they've all come undone. I feel like such an idiot. I just need to...
By the time the problem had been solved, the dust, luckily, had all gone.
Right, we're good to go now. Oh, no, the door. Oh, there it is.
Annoyingly, the officials quickly put a stop to this boss hoggery. So, if Lancia was going to win here, on gravel, it would all be down to the skill of the driver. And boy, did Walter Röhrl rise to the occasion.
Looking back in my career, it was maybe my best rally in my life I have done. It was just like a dream. When I was just thinking, I want to cut this corner, don't lose 10 centimeters of road. The car was going exactly on this point, and it was flowing. It was just... nobody can beat me.
And then there was the magnificent 037 itself.
Driving a Lancia, it's a perfect thing, because it doing exactly what you want. It's like my shoe. It fits so perfectly. If I just think it should do this one, it has done it.
With man and machine in such perfect harmony, Röhrl won a staggering 33 of the 58 stages. The team scored a 1, 2, 3, and as a result, they won the